Hi, I'm Kerth Gumbs, and this is the Great British Chef's Signature Series. Today what I'm going to be cooking is Johnny cake with pig crab and a mayonnaise. It's something that we always in the Caribbean have it as a part of a meal, as a fish fry. You want to be pushing using your fingers and your palm. It's going to be nice and light and fluffy on the inside. Taking my final little scoops out, and there we go. You know, Johnnycakes is something that I grew up with. You can find them on the beaches, you can find them at bars, you can find them in hotels, you can find them at home. Today what I'm going to be cooking is Johnny cake with pig crab and a mayonnaise. So, you know, Johnnycakes is something that we grew up with in the Caribbean. It's our idea of bread. We normally have it fried, you can have it baked. It goes good with cheese, just butter. But I'm going to take it a little bit step further with having pig crab, a bit of caviar, and some mayonnaise. So you got your salt, we got some water, some butter, some cornmeal, some yeast, some sugar, and some flour. All right, first of all, what I'm gonna do is just put some water in the pan. I left back a little bit just because I'm gonna put my salt in that little bit just to get it dissolved. So just put a bit of yeast in the water that I'm gonna put on the stove along with the butter. I'm just gonna bring that slightly warm, just slightly warm. In my bowl, I'm just gonna add the flour. Gonna mix my cornmeal. So that's now starting to dissolve nicely. So now the butter is melted, the yeast is in, the water is in. I'm just gonna add the sugar into there as well. I'm gonna now start to add that into my flour. Just give it a nice little mix around. And we're gonna get sticked in. You gotta get your hands in there, get a nice feel. But like I said, if you're gonna do a larger quantity and you do have a KitchenAid at home, use it. So water and butter, I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time and keep mixing it around, keeping the dough nice and smooth, looking for that elasticity that comes after you activate the gluten by moving everything around. Always when you're making stuff with doughs and flours or anything like that, you're always going to need a little bit of extra flour for dusting to help bring it together. It's just the way it works with moisture. Well, you can see that it is now coming together. It's have a more consistent shine on it. It's smooth. It's not as wet as it was before. The dough itself is holding together, being able to lightly just drop from your hands. So, okay, now I'm just going to get some kneading action going on here. So, we got your dough. You can see that it's now coming a lot more firm. It is stretchy, elastic. So you got your dough out. We are working from the outside to the middle. The thing about this is there's no wrong way to do it. As long as you keep working the dough, pressing it, pulling it, stretching it, you are activating the gluten. And another trick then, you want to be pushing using your fingers and your palm. What you're doing is you're touching the dough, you bring it in, and you're using your palm to press it down, bring it back over. Again, just finger, thumb, palm, finger, thumb, palm, finger, thumb, palm, and we're moving. I can see the dough is now sticking together. It's nice. It's staying in a ball. It's releasing. It's still soft. It's draping. So now that, I'm just gonna put it in a lightly floured bowl and leave it to rest for at least an hour. I'm gonna take my dough. And again, same as before, roll them into a little ball. But what I want is about 40 grams per portion. So what we got here is our little scales. That's 36 grams. We're gonna add a little bit more to that. There we go, 40 grams. So again, you wanna just push it back into itself. It's smaller. And using that same principle as before. And I'm just rolling that into a nice little ball. All right, so what we have here is our crab. So what we're gonna do is cook this. And how we're gonna cook it is in a bit of boiling water, a bit of onion, carrot, white wine, bay leaf and thyme. So this beautiful bad boy here, it looks like a male actually. Normally you can tell because this tail bit for a female will normally be more wide. This area, they're very sensitive and particular about that area, which is in the humane way, what we're gonna do is stick our knife straight in between there, and that's gonna paralyze the nervous systems. So you're gonna get in there, and I'm just gonna do one motion. And just leave it for a couple of seconds, and then you'll see slowly all that action. See, you can see now how it's just getting relaxed and just lying back down. There you go. You just seen it. Nice big piece. It's just nice and relaxed. And the other area is here between the eyes. And again, it shuts down the front part of the nervous systems. And you can see how the juices have started to run down. So now the crab is dead. I have my water boiling. I'm just gonna add my white wine. You know, a nice crab. Just gonna gently rest it in. And I'm gonna put a timer for 12 to 15 minutes. Check it out into ice water, and then we're gonna start to prep the crab. So what I'm gonna be doing now is just bringing the oil up to temperature, which is about 165, 170, 175 max. And you wanna cook your Johnny cakes for about 2 minutes. You'll see that when they drop down, they'll float back up to the top, keeping that nice shape, kind of like a donut. You're just gonna go in, drop it off. So with the Johnny cakes, what you're looking for is a nice golden color, a little bit crispy on the outside, and then on the inside is nice and light and fluffy. You know, it's very similar to a donut dough, but it's a little bit more dense, not as light, and a little bit more crispiness on the outside as well. So here you go. That's the color we're looking for. I can see it's nice and floating. Chill it out. In a traditional way, you'll normally have yours kind of split out a bit like this. Just drop it in on your parchment paper. You're gonna be able to peel that off in a bit. Like I say, it just puffs up like a donut, you can say. Again, dark, crispy on the outside, like it's gonna be nice and light and fluffy on the inside. And this is done in about 30 seconds. Leave it on the side to chill down. All right, so the crab has been in for about 13 minutes now. I'm just gonna take it out. Gonna take it out and just get it straight into some ice water. So I'm just gonna shake off a bit of the water from the crab and have a little bit of ice here already on the tray. Right, so I'm gonna start to prep the crab in a minute. It's gonna lose a lot of water, so I just bought a cloth and able to catch some of those juices. I'm just gonna get a pair of gloves on and we're gonna start to prep away. So there's a trick with gloves, if they'll be small or medium or large. If it's gonna be a bit tight or sticky to get on, just dust your hands in a little bit of flour and your finger's gonna slip right in and you'll be able to not rip the glove. So again, what we're gonna have now is just like before, you turn your crab over, take off the tail, just twist the legs out of each socket, twist them out. What you'd like to do next, after removing the front claws, try to hold your crab from the back part. You'll see here where the tail was, where this piece comes from. Put your thumb fingers at the back, your fingers on the side, and you're gonna use your thumb fingers to press upwards. So you're gonna start to push with your thumb fingers just upwards. And there you go. So this is the main part of the crab in terms of you get a lot of flavor, One of my favorite dishes is Singaporean chili crab, and this gives a huge amount of flavor. These little fellas here, which they call dead man fingers, or they're not edible, they're not good for anything, so this is something that we're gonna discard. When you remove that main body of the crab, you're gonna have a lot of juices and liquids. Just gonna strain that off. And the same, you're gonna see in here now, the brown crab meat. So like I said, we don't use the brown crab meat in this recipe, but it is something that you can definitely keep. For the shell, save this along with a few of the legs when I'm gonna be picking them out later for presentation. In use and homage of such a beautiful animal, I try to be creative and use it back within the dish. This is where a lot of the white crab meat is. Just give it a crack, smash it down. It's gonna spit back at you. Gonna rip the claw off the top one. And what you got here is your crab. Claw meat. In the center there's always a cartilage. So I'm gonna remove that. And what I'm left with is a lot of pure white crab meat. With all the knuckles, just go in and take out the meat with your spoon. Look at that. All of that is meat. It takes a while. Look at that. Loads of meat in there. Nope, I can't see you yet, so there's probably more crab. But yeah, you're gonna dig out a little bit more. taking my final little scoops up. And there we go. We got a few things to plate up this Johnny cake. A nice mayonnaise. You can do smoked mayonnaise. You can do anything you want. We have some salmon eggs and also some caviar. So we're going to take the Johnny cake. I'm just going to cut off the bottom. So you can see it's a little bit like a bread dough. So I got a bit of the picked crab meat, which I picked earlier. I'm just going to put a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of olive oil, brunoise of red and green chili, a little sprinkling of soft herbs that I use almost in everything, which is chervil, tarragon, and dill. So building up, super easy. What we're gonna do is just putting a bit of mayonnaise on the top of your little Johnny cake, and then we're just gonna dollop our crab on. And again, this is the size I'm doing, but you guys can do it much bigger. Next, we're gonna just put a little bit of the caviar in little clusters of love and flavor. Same with your salmon roll. And this adds that little pop of saltiness. Finishing off with our fennel blossom. Now I'm just garnishing with a little bit of dill. And this is your plate. And there you have it. All right, here you have it, guys. This is my Johnny cake with picked crab, smoked mayonnaise, and caviar. Taking flavors that I've learned when I was here in the UK and adding them on to something that I grew up with in the Caribbean. My interpretation on a traditional dish back home, taken to the next level.